Hello. Welcome to the premier podcast of Ask The Regulator. I am your host, Katie Cravens, founder and CEO at buildmysop.com. And joined with me this evening is Tom Mohan, the former regulator from the Colorado Marijuana Enforcement Division. How you doing, Tom?
Doing good, Katie. How about yourself?
I'm good. Thanks for joining me tonight. And I'm really excited to share with our cannabis and hemp community and hopefully, help them out with some of our experiences and our stories from our years in the industry.
Absolutely.
My name is Katie. I am the founder and CEO at buildmysop.com. I have worked almost every position in my years in the industry, starting off as a janitor in a cultivation facility. I just really dove into everything I could get my hands on. So I've literally worked in cultivation facilities, running retail facilities, and every position within both of those. Other than extracting material myself, I am not a lab technician or a scientist, but I have run manufacturing facilities as well as transportation and delivery. So I've kind of got a real good overview of what these procedures actually look like from an employee's account. That's a little bit about me. We started buildmysop.com because I needed something as a manager to help me and assist me in keeping up with all these regulatory changes, keeping my employees up to date on all those changes, and keeping our doors open at our facilities. And so we're really excited to be in 9 states now with buildmysop.com and growing rapidly, and our customers are really enjoying the platform. So we're happy to be here and very happy to have our VP of Regulatory Affairs, Tom Mohan, on board with the company.
Thanks, Katie. So I started public safety career back in 1990 as an EMT, working on an ambulance, progressed to being paramedic, worked that for approximately 8 years, and then started a law enforcement career where I worked at the sheriff's office, a couple different police departments, where I specialized in the narcotic side of things and methamphetamine clandestine labs, learning kind of the science behind extractions, kind of where that started. Then 2014, with the onset of adult use recreational cannabis in Colorado, I actually took a position with the Marijuana Enforcement Division as a criminal investigator. I was there up until last year in September, so just at 7 years I was there, and I worked from being a criminal investigator to a subject matter expert and a supervisor out of one of the offices. While I was there, I got a chance to look at a lot of different SOPs, or in a lot of cases, the lack of SOPs. And through the years, I've worked with Katie and spoken about compliance and kind of met up with her and decided to go a little different direction. And now I work on this side of it.
And we are happy to have you here. I get hired to come into facilities and do what I call facility flips and kind of clean up shop. And Tom was somebody that I communicated a lot in my work in getting facilities on the right track. Oh, we work great together. It's really a great experience. So let's talk a little bit about exactly what a standard operating procedure is, right? So a standard operating procedure outlines in detail, step by step, how a procedure is performed. So a lot more than just cultivating or how to actually manufacture the product. It's really saying everything that could happen from when the doors open to when the door closes throughout your entire year or entirety of your business's lifetime. The state and in-house want to see exactly how those procedures are performed. And there's tons of benefits, not only from a regulatory standpoint, to having really detailed standard operating procedures in place when you're running a business. Some of these benefits are just creating a homogenized product, being able to time things correctly, right? Saving money with timing. So increasing profitability, being able to hold employees and management and ownership accountable. A lot of these employees, when I go into a facility, are begging for structure, and they are begging for things to be defined and for things to be very clear. Standard operating procedures help with all of that.
So one of the big things with a standard operating procedure, it's a roadmap. It gives somebody direction on how to do the position that they're in. The standard operating procedure, like Katie said, holds people accountable. And I'll give a prime example. I had a case where I spoke with an owner. He was missing several thousand grams of concentrates, and he was missing upwards of $500,000 in concentrates.
Ouch.
And he says, how is this possible? Well, I said, well, let's look at your SOP and let's see where the problem lies at. He didn't have an SOP. Basically, whoever was doing the gramming or whoever was handing it out, they had no accountability. They just did as they were told. So they didn't have an actual roadmap to go by. That was $500,000 that he lost specifically as the wholesaler. And that's basically because he didn't have standard operating procedures to hold individuals accountable. So he was losing this right outside the door. The standard operating procedure should be a task that somebody can pick up, be trained on rather quickly, and know how to do that process. And it should be the same process every single time, and that's what the standard operating procedure is a roadmap to make sure you've got consistency and it's done over and over again, no matter who's doing the task.
And at buildmysop.com, we offer templates that people can customize and fill out to their specific IP, their specific local and state regulations, or we can help them and we can identify all of those customizations that need to be done in the SOP. Tom, what are regulators looking for when they're reviewing standard operating procedures?
So we're looking for thoroughness and specificity. What that means is we're looking to make sure that the standard operating procedure is complete and whole. I've seen standard operating procedures that basically say water plants. Well, it doesn't say when to water the plants, how much to water the plants. All of that is very important.
What kind of water are you watering the plants with? pH balance,
exactly.
RO.
And that's what we're looking for when I say specificity is all of those little details. They need to go to the same spot, use the same water, the same time, or whatever the SOP stands for, and how to grow that way. That way they have a consistent product. If they don't have an SOP, they're really putting themselves at an increased risk for regulatory violation. And that regulatory violation can mean just a fine. It could be days of suspension. It could be a violation that your license gets suspended or revoked, to the point where you just lost all that money that you invested in that business just because you didn't have a set of guidelines for people to follow.